I started this ethnography project in order to discover if there are equal opportunities for women in the military. On the University of Michigan's campus, as a student, I'm always seeing a movement towards uncovering the inequalities between men and women. The military is something that not a lot of people look at as a sexist entity. For that reason, I wanted to uncover the discriminations within the U.S. military. As a college student, I did not have the opportunity to have direct contact with military members, so I decided to meet students my age who plan to join the military after 4 years of college. This project is anthropological since I studied how humans behave with each other in a certain entity, the U.S. military. I began the project by going to the basement of the chemistry building on the University of Michigan's campus in Ann Arbor. As soon as I get to the basement and walk down a hallway, you see pictures of U.S. military leaders and multiple signs that say ROTC, which stands for the Reserve Officers Training Corps. The ROTC is where members are supposed to learn and develop their leadership skills to prepare for a career as an officer in the U.S. military. It is an elective curriculum you can take along with required college courses. My first meeting for this project was in a side room in the chemistry building where ROTC members can hang out, do homework, and talk with friends. Andrew Miller was the first person I spoke to. He's a senior at the University of Michigan who's in his final year at the ROTC. As a senior, he's known as MS4. As an MS4, you have 4 different options to pick from post-graduation, and Andrew chose to go into the National Guard. I was able to speak to Andrew and his friends in the chemistry building room to get their opinions on different things. There's a really good setting to just get to know each ROTC member and have a general conversation to establish rapport. Throughout this project, I was able to meet with these members on 4 different occasions. The first 3 were in the room in the chemistry building, and the last, I met with them in front of the dentistry building where sergeants take attendance of students before going to class. During my first meeting with the ROTC members, my plan was to get pictures of the members in their natural state, just hanging out and talking to each other. All of the boys and girls except Andrew Miller preferred not to be photographed, so I just switched my idea to taking pictures of my surroundings. I noticed very quickly that the artwork around the room had mainly male Army members. I could not find a single female name or picture in the entire room except this one picture. Only during the second and third meeting with ROTC members did I feel comfortable taking pictures of the room as well as Andrew Miller. I used a Nikon DSLR throughout the entire project. My first time with the ROTC members mostly consisted of me observing the students talk about schoolwork and what they had to do for that day. My second and third time with them, I was able to participate in the conversation as well as ask more directed questions. I would often ask them their opinions about women and men in the military, hear their opinions, and then take general notes. A problem I did face was that many of the members were very careful with their answers during the first 2 times I met with them. I felt like sometimes they were holding back their opinions to not speak poorly of the U.S. military. Andrew Miller was the first one to comment on the military's treatment of women joining. He explained that he felt the military was an extremely slow-changing machine and was a couple generations behind our society today. The inclusion of women in the United States military has been a topic of debate since the American Revolution. Around 14.5% of the active duty forces of nearly 1.4 million people are women. Figures according to the Pentagon in 2011. During my third visit to the chemistry building, I asked ROTC members why they think that women have barriers going into the military. I asked for their honest opinion. The students all agreed quickly that they believed that there should be equality between men and women in the military, but they did share what they believed were some perceptions that other men had of women joining. Some concerns were that women would interfere with group bonding and cohesion, the same arguments that interfered with the integration of African Americans and gay people into the military. According to SWAN, the Service Women's Action Network, after numerous interviews of women in this field, they felt that the first thing people started talking about is, I wonder if she's hot, I wonder if she puts out, I wonder if she's fat. My fourth and final visit with the ROTC members included observing students interacting with their sergeants. The sergeants take attendance of all the students and then give them an overview of what their day looks like. I was really surprised when the sergeant shared that there is a training activity over the weekend for ROTC members but stated, sorry ladies, no offense to you, but it's only for the men. One of the major reasons cited for why women can't serve in some roles is the need for separate sleeping quarters, and particularly the worries about women being subject to sexual crimes. Nearly 2/3 of service members who report sexual assault say they experience some form of social or professional retaliation from their fellow service members. The professor in my anthropology class went over the big overarching idea that gender differences are cultural. I wanted to choose an ethnography project where I can uncover some of the cultural differences in the 2 genders, so I chose an organization to study that was right on my college campus, the the ROTC. In the anthropology class, we went over idealized behaviors and what it takes to be good at being a man or woman in society's perceptions. This correlates with my project since many men in the military feel that members need to look and be a certain way in order to be part of their combat. Socialization is what teaches you how to behave like a proper man or woman, things fed to girls and boys through parents, peers, society, and media. The idea of women interested in joining the ROTC and having a future in the military can very quickly be put to rest by socialization. Through this activity, I learned that there are still many parts of our society that does not have gender equality. The University of Michigan's campus is a very liberal student campus where students are constantly trying to create change. It is very easy to infer that the rest of the world is doing the same thing too, which is very incorrect. It was helpful to have multiple observations with ROTC members since the more time I spent with them, the more they were willing to share. The 4 different times that I spent with the members, I got different results each time. Their answers during the first couple observations were very vague, and they were very careful about sharing their words. During the 3rd and 4th time, they were more open to the idea of sharing. Over the course of this ethnography project, there were several instances while talking to the ROTC members, they shared that there was a lot of ambiguity, errors, and conflicting information that is found regarding whether positions were closed to women. Other than the aspects of limited spots available for women, many female members of the ROTC felt the term open door policy should be thrown around more on the topic of sexual assault. It is vital the military adapts quicker to our current society by creating equality for women on every platform in the military. It will be interesting to see moving forward how the military will improve their inequalities of women.